This is a hat of a Spurs fan. This is Father's Day. This is a microphone. But when it's with me, this is a pipe bomb. Happy Father's Day, ladies and gentlemen. Today is June 15th, 2014. And if you're an NBA fan, this is a big day because today it is Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs. And I'm glad to be doing this video on Father's Day because, you know, there's a lot of significance when it comes to the Spurs and Father's Day, and allow me to elaborate. If the Spurs win tonight, they will win their 5th championship. And I got a story to tell before I start talking about the Spurs. 11 years ago, exactly 11 years ago to this day, June 15th, 11 years ago, the Spurs won their 2nd championship in franchise history. This was a significant title for them because they had the best record in the NBA. And they had up-and-coming stars, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. But this was a significant championship because this was the last for David Robinson, as he announced earlier in the season that he would be retiring after the season is all said and done. And what a way for the Admiral to go out in the sunset with another championship. And I'll tell you, 2003 was one of the best years I have ever witnessed in my life. It was when I fully got on with the Spurs, and ever since my loyalty and support has never died ever since. Once a Spurs fan, always a Spurs fan. And the first time I saw them win a championship, it was a magical thing. Like when I saw them hold the championship up, or when they were seconds away from winning it, my mouth dropped because I was watching it with my dad, I was watching it with my mom. Of course, Kyle, my brother, being a year old, he fell asleep quick. But as the final seconds were ticking off, my mouth dropped because I couldn't believe that this actually happened. And I smiled too. Like, I recorded the whole game. And let's keep in mind, if you actually seen Game 6 of the NBA Finals in 2003, the Spurs were down by probably as much as double digits, and in the fourth quarter, they spurred a major comeback and they won it 88-77 to capture their 2nd crown. It was one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in my life, aside from my brother being born. And like I said, I recorded it, so as the weeks went on, as the summer started, I watched the championship tape over and over again because it meant so much for me to see them finally go to the top. I actually went to most of their home games, and for them to pull it off in the fashion they did, I will never forget it. I will never forget the year 2003. I'll never forget the summer. Bottom line, I'll never forget it. We fast forward into 11 years to the day they won their 2nd championship. Here we are today. Game 5. If the Spurs win, they would win it in 5 games, which they have never won the championship in 5 games since '99. They would have won their 5th championship. And this will be the first time in 3 years that the championship series will not end on Miami's home court. The Spurs haven't won a championship at home since 2005, where they had that hard-fought series with the Pistons. It took them 7 games, but they won their 3rd championship. They haven't won a championship since 2007, where, coincidentally enough, they swept LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was the lowest-rated NBA Finals in television history. And I did not see them clinch the championship because I had to go to bed early because I had school in the morning. But I'm going to tell you guys something about the Spurs. The Spurs are is a very productive and legendary team. And there's very few teams in the NBA that has the craft like they do. For their team, it's all about teamwork rather than star power. You give, you take. It's not all about the older guys, the veterans, to get their turn in the spotlight. No. We got young stars like Danny Green, Patty Mills, Tiago, and most importantly, Kawhi Leonard. What Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony Parker done for them is very monumental. And based on what I've seen throughout the finals thus far, I wouldn't be surprised if Kawhi Leonard gets MVP. Now, this is a big game, this is a big moment for me. because if they win it, it's going to be something magical. It's going to be great to see the Spurs win it at their home. I predicted earlier this month, that in the Stanley Cup, whether if it's the Rangers or Kings, they will win it in 5. Friday night, in dramatic fashion, the Kings won the Stanley Cup in 5 games in the second overtime with the final score of 3-2. That is a team that deserves it. Their second Stanley Cup in 3 years. I'm proud of those boys. And now here we are in the NBA Finals. I predicted that the Spurs was going to win it in 5, and here we are. They take a 3-1 lead. They take a 3-1 lead against the Miami Heat. With Miami, they suffered from cramps. They suffered from AC failures. They suffered with, I don't know, incompatible offense and defense, which the Spurs took advantage of, and that's why they blew them out 2 times at the American Airlines Arena in sunny Miami, Florida. No team has ever done that since the Big 3 era of the Miami Heat. And if the Spurs could kick their butt in 2 straight games in Miami, they're going to bring that championship home to San Antonio. And I don't know if it's called the Larry O'Brien Trophy still or the David Stern Trophy, but either way, the championship is coming home to the sweet state of Texas, to the Lone Star City itself, San Antonio. And I know I boister about this a lot. I mean, what do you expect from a Spurs fan? What do you expect from a Texan? Yes, I lived in San Antonio from '99 to 2005. And to see the Spurs progress into a team that no other can duplicate is an honor for me to see them play at their highest right now. Tim Duncan, he is unaware if he will come back next year or the year after that. Same with Greg Popovich, the San Antonio Spurs coach. And the way I see it, I've been doing my homework. The only conclusion I could give you about their future is, if Tim goes, Pop goes. And that will be a day of darkness, the day those two retire. I mean, granted, I know the era might be over, but you know, you can never hesitate to look back at the memories they shared together. 4 championships together. All these Western Conference, all these division titles, all the NBA Finals appearances. Those are things that are overshadowed because of what the other teams has done, because of their Durants, the LeBrons, the Carmelos. And speaking of LeBrons, the Miami Heat. I said it once to somebody, and I'm going to say it out loud for the whole public to see. Miami Heat's fan base at the American Airlines Arena is one of the most unloyal things I have ever seen in basketball. We're talking about, there was probably 10, they were down by 10 with probably 5 minutes left to go, and the Heat fans goes towards the exit. The Oklahoma City Thunder fans are more loyal than that. Despite a heartbreaking defeat that they have suffered against the Spurs in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, they stayed till the final buzzer to show their appreciation, because that is what all they have. That's what Oklahoma City has right now, is the basketball team and the support. And for them to stay after the final buzzer, that's what I call loyalty and respect. To the Heat fans, which is probably bandwagoners, I'm rumor-like, that is just disingenuous and deplorable. And I'm glad that the Spurs fans stay with them through thick and thin. Now, the Spurs have broken my heart within the last few years. You know, back in 2011, they have the best record in the West. They get defeated by the 8th seeded Memphis Grizzlies, the 4th team ever to knock out a #1 in the first round. Then the year after that, they lost the conference championship to OKC after being up 2-0 in the series. And then, of course, last year, where they messed it up in Game 6 in the NBA Finals for the Heat to force a Game 7 and win it. That is Heartbreak City right there. But this year, the script has flipped. Spurs has home court advantage. Spurs has the best record in the NBA. They are #1, and 1 is the magic number tonight. They are 1 win away. Should they prevail in the 48 minutes they have on that court. They are going to bring their 5th championship to San Antonio on Father's Day in the same fashion that they did it 11 years back. So this might be a storybook ending after all. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. The Spurs are going to win it tonight. I guarantee it. So Spurs fans or not, I'm here to say that I support my Spurs tonight. I got the Spurs hat. I got the Spurs jersey representing my favorite Spurs player of all time, David Robinson. Mr. 50 himself, the Admiral. So the Spurs are going to take it home. The Heat aren't going to handle the heat that the Texas fans will give to them. And tonight, the Heat are going to walk off the court with nothing but bottles of water, because that's all they're going to be drinking on the plane home to Miami once the series is set and done tonight. And for my Facebook fans out there, there will be a play-by-play tonight because San Antonio is ready to party by bringing its 5th championship home. And I'm going to be more than glad to call the final moments once it's all said and done. And now, when this series, if the Spurs win the championship, or whenever the NBA Finals ends, whichever comes first, I will do one more episode of Pipe Bomb to review everything about the NBA Finals this year and what has happened to me ever since we restarted Pipe Bomb with this 2nd season. But once again, it is an honor to present myself to you guys, whether you like me or not. Thank you for watching. Because for me, I spit the truth, and I don't spit no slander. What you hear from me is all truth and no bull. Because for me to slanderize any information is an insult and a disgrace to my life. So the truth being, tonight, Spurs are going to win tonight. They're going to come into the AT&T Center and demolish the Miami Heat. I'm Aaron Sanders reminding you, you got a voice, you need to use it. Be loyal. Put your team on. And from this Spurs fan for almost 15 years. Go Spurs, go. 5th championship. Let's get it on, because we're about to do battle and San Antonio is getting ready to party. Go Spurs, Pipe Bomb.